OSHA's General Industry Standard on Permit-Required Confined Spaces, 29 CFR 1910.146, has been in place since the early 1990s. This standard outlines requirements for practices and procedures to protect employees who enter confined spaces to perform general industry activities such as inspecting, cleaning, or maintenance. The Confined Spaces in Construction Standard, Subpart AA of 29 CFR 1926, helps protect employees who enter a confined space to perform construction activities. Construction activities include work for construction, alteration, or repair, including painting and coating of a confined space. In developing the Confined Spaces in Construction Standard, effective August 2015, OSHA took into account that many employers already used the General Industry Rule as guidance when their workers entered confined spaces in order to perform construction activities. As a result, the construction rule has many similarities to the General Industry Rule. For instance, both standards require employers to identify confined spaces and their hazards, take steps to prevent employees from entering those spaces, develop and implement a written confined space program if employees will enter those spaces, train employees who serve on entry and rescue teams, and provide for rescue and emergency services for entry team members. However, the construction standard has unique requirements that must be followed by any company engaging in construction activities within a confined space. These requirements include more detailed provisions requiring coordinated activities when there are multiple employers at the work site, requiring your company to designate a competent person who is responsible for evaluating the work site and identifying confined spaces, including permit spaces, continuous atmospheric monitoring whenever possible, continuous monitoring of engulfment hazards, and allowing for the suspension of a permit instead of cancellation if entry conditions change or an unexpected event triggers an evacuation. In these cases, the entry team can continue with the work when the permit's acceptable entry conditions have been recovered. In addition, the construction standard requires the employer to work with the rescue agency so that they, the rescue agency, will provide advance notice if they'll be unavailable for a rescue operation. Requires that employers who direct employees to enter a space without using a complete permit system eliminate or isolate any physical hazards first. And it specifically requires employers to provide training in a language and vocabulary that the employee understands. So, how do you know if you should follow the General Industry or Construction Confined Space Rule? According to OSHA, you should follow the 1926 construction rule if you engage in construction work and other construction activities. This includes new construction as well as modifying and upgrading existing structures, and includes tasks such as altering an existing confined space, painting or coating the inside of a confined space, or repairing a damaged confined space. Employers with existing confined spaces, even those who do not consider themselves construction industry employers, must follow the construction standard if they're performing any construction activity in a confined space. The General Industry Standard applies when you have workers enter permit spaces for other types of activities, such as inspecting, cleaning, or doing regular scheduled maintenance. If you have workers performing both construction activities and general industry tasks within a permit-required confined space at the same time, OSHA requires you to follow the Confined Spaces in Construction Standard, Subpart AA of 29 CFR 1926. For more than 60 years, companies like yours have relied on J.J. Keller & Associates to provide only the best in compliance and training solutions. Our line of confined spaces training is no exception. Our solutions can help you understand the definition of a confined space and a permit-required confined space, identify some of the specific hazards associated with working in permit spaces, know the general rules and responsibilities of the authorized entrant, attendant, and entry supervisor, and identify the role of the emergency rescue team. For more information on how we can help you comply with both confined spaces standards, please visit jjkeller.com/confinedspaces.